Thank you. Actually seeing quite a very good response from everybody. Thank you so much. So without even wasting time now, I think we can now start making some submissions. So the question for this program states that what are the roles that young people have to play in this in the implementation of sustainable development goal number 3, and then what opportunities do we see as young people during this period of COVID-19? What opportunities do we see, or what opportunities are we seeing that they are already existing that we young people can take part in, and how can we take part or utilize those opportunities? So the floor is yours now. We are now taking note of your submissions. Yeah, so if you want to make, I'm already seeing Tumelo there. So before I give an opportunity to Tumelo, you can raise your hand. There's actually a tab down there which you can use to raise your hand. Or if you can't raise your hand, you can actually directly send me a text, then I'll pick it up from there. Yes, Tumelo, you can proceed, please. Your microphone is on mute, so I don't know if you can just unmute it. Okay.
Oh, can you get me now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so one of the ways in which young people can help with implementing SDG number 3 during this pandemic is by staying up to date and adhering to health measures set up during pandemics like this one. So as young people who are actively involved in advocating for the SDG number 3, we can advertise and we can also educate people mostly on our online pages and platforms to ensure that we make people aware of what is happening and how this disease can affect them and how they can prevent themselves from catching the disease. So I feel like that's one of the strongest ways in which we as young people can ensure that we also educate people around us about how they can also help us in implementing the SDG number 3, which is good health and well-being.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So that's from Tumelo. And we've actually taken note of your submission.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other submission? What roles do young people have in the implementation of SDG 3? Mind you, SDG 3 is talking about, like, the many overall objective of SDG 3 is to ensure healthy lives and promote the well-being for all at all ages, meaning the well-being for everybody, either old, young, or at the youthful stage, or whatever stage that it is, so long they are young. So what roles do we have as young people to implement the SDGs, and what opportunities do we see, or are we seeing as young people during this period of COVID-19? Anybody with another submission on the roles? Okay, the VIP, that's Delphin. Proceed, please. You can unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so the other role that we can take up as youth, especially during this time of COVID-19 and people are in their respective homes, could be to sensitize the people that are around you. Not a lot of people are privileged to have like the knowledge and to know about the SDGs. So while we're at home, maybe we could use this time to educate the people that are around us on the importance of SDG number 3. And I think we could even use the topic of COVID-19, like how to protect ourselves from COVID-19 as the main topic that we could sensitize them about. And for those who are able to access communities and talk to young people, children especially, because we are at a time where there are people, let's say for example street kids, who are not really aware about COVID, and we are finding cases where they would pick up masks and wear them. Like someone uses a mask and throws it away, then a child comes and picks up that mask and start wearing it. So if we could maybe use this time and sensitize the public about the importance of SDG 3 in relation with COVID-19, that would be very helpful to our respective communities as we are waiting for everything to get back to normal. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's Dolphin, the UNZA YUNA Vice President. Now we proceed. Is there anybody who wants to make a submission on the roles before we start looking at each challenge and how we can actually try to address that challenge? I'm seeing another hand from Dumelo. You can proceed, please.
Okay, thank you. Just one more thing I would like to add on the issue of us trying to implement SDG number 3 as young people. I feel like this is also a time in which we should also help vulnerable people who are unable to get themselves hand sanitizers, masks, and things that can help them, like with disinfecting or cleaning their surroundings. Because last week I was in town, and when I was in town, I went to go and get some disinfectants from town, and I saw many street kids, without masks, without any hand sanitizers. And I feel like sometimes we as young people shouldn't always leave this role up to government, for government to always provide things. We as young people, even if the little money that we have, I feel like during this period, we should try as much as we can to help vulnerable people who cannot afford any masks, who cannot afford any hand sanitizers, or anything to keep themselves clean during this pandemic. So at least we can also ensure that as we are trying to sensitize people, educate people, and also protect ourselves, we're also helping people out there who are unable to fend and provide for themselves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So that's from Tumero. We've actually taken point of this. And those are actually one of the most key things that has even prompted me to even ask this question. We've actually seen the impact that COVID-19 has actually caused or brought on our communities. And we personally, as UNZA YUNA, we're actually doing the sensitization in our community, just like Tumelo has stated. And one of the most things that really touched our hearts as we are doing the sensitization is that people don't want to adhere to the preventive measures, or maybe listen to the messages of preventive measures without any material. So you have actually gone in the field to sensitize people about it, but the first question they will ask you is that you are wearing a mask, what about us? So that's actually one of the key things. It is a serious thing, and it is real that people don't have money to actually buy these commodities. And most of them is actually because of hunger and all that. And I think that's also a space enough for us as young people to actually take keen interest. So thank you so much, Tumelo, for that. Then we're now going to check on one of the impacts. What role can we as young people play in addressing the second impact, which I've actually put there, which is saying COVID-19 has attracted concentration to an extent where resources are now being channeled to the fight against COVID-19, of which no attention is given to sexual and reproductive health rights, more especially this period. So one of the issues that were brought in is that there will be a lot of pregnancies than ever before due to the following reasons. Schools have been closed, and since there is no strict restrictions and guidance, young people have taken such an opportunity to have fun and are carelessly indulging in risky behaviors. Then the second one is they are not accessing sexual and reproductive health support and services due to the fact that everyone is now scared of moving up and down, more especially to risk areas. like health centers due to COVID-19. How do we think we can address this challenge or this problem? Is there anybody that would love to make a submission on this? Okay, so I'm seeing 2 hands from 2 participants. There's Fortune and there's Tumelo again. So before I go to Tumelo, let me start with Fortune. Yes, Fortune.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, just to my contribution concern the question you said. I think the best way we can use to advocate to other pandemics or other diseases which are affecting us, despite the COVID-19, I think we can use the platform which were in the way that since now COVID-19 it does get worse. I mean, it's just everywhere. I mean, everyone just talking about it. So I think in advocating on what COVID-19 its impacts and the effects which it has to the world at large, you can also use the same you can use the same platform to also talk more on other diseases such as sexual health and reproductive, and also like cholera, just to let people know that there are also other infections which are like affecting. Because bearing in mind that we also have people living without HIV and AIDS, and like as in not much is being said on them. Like the attention currently has shifted to COVID-19 just everywhere. People just talk about it. So in as much as we are talking about COVID-19, so we should also bear in mind that other diseases are also affecting others. So I think while it's advocating for COVID-19, should also advocate for other diseases which are affecting the world at large. So like you have to use the same platforms which we are using just to advocate and teach more about the people on the effects of other diseases. Yeah, so I think that's the same community participation involving the youth, as in we should just to bring everyone on board, even in rural areas, more especially in rural areas. I feel there's nothing much happening there in that they don't have access to social media platforms, phones, and the like. So in as much as they don't have those such, but I think they have some radio art stations. So I think using the radio art platforms to disseminate information, just to sensitize them on other effects affecting them and also affecting us, so that everyone at least because as you know, as we are all knowledge is our information is power. So in as much as this COVID-19 has affected everything, there are also other diseases which we should also bring on board. Yeah, so that's my the contribution.
All right, thank you very much, sir. That was really brief. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can now proceed to Tumelo. I'm also seeing Charity's hand. So before we go to Charity, Tumelo, you can make your submission.
Thank you. On the impact, I think one of the measures that can be taken is to continuously remind and educate people, mostly on online platforms, like the previous speaker had said, on platforms such as radio, to educate them mostly on the effects of their sexual reproductive health and rights if they're not put into practice. Because during this period, one thing is that many people don't have anything to do. Many people are at home. And in such cases, you find that when people don't have anything to do, they'll indulge themselves in activities which can even cause them to get infected with diseases or can put their health at risk. So I feel like it would be really important to use this period of time to continuously remind people to put into practice measures which they can use, such as abstinence, and also just helping people also find things which they can involve themselves into, creative activities that they can involve themselves into or put their time into, so that they can have something that can be productive, that can consume their time. Thank you. That's my contribution.
All right. Thank you so much. Charity. Charity, you can unmute your microphone. We can't hear you.
Okay, so one of the things on the issue of the impact I wanted to talk about is it is important that we do not neglect the former challenges that we've been having. For example, early pregnancies issues and HIV and AIDS that have been affecting the nation already before COVID-19. So I feel it's important that more platforms are created for people to educate others. For example, people who are in areas like Lusaka, Kitwendola, they have access to internet. They're able to read what's happening online, but it's hard for people in rural areas. So I feel it's also important to train more people who can educate other people in rural areas using even vernacular if possible, like using our local languages so that we deliver the knowledge that is needed by those people. And I feel it's also important that we engage all age groups in the fight of COVID-19 and also issues such as sexual, reproductive, and health rights by engaging all age groups to participate in fighting against these issues. So I feel it's not going to be well balanced if we neglect other things and just concentrate on fighting COVID-19 and making sure that all the resources are going just to one thing, are all channeled to one thing. So it's important that we do not neglect other issues that we've already been fighting before the rising of COVID-19. That's my submission.
All right, thank you. I saw Delphin's hand. Delphin?
Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to contribute on to Melo's submission as well as charities when they mentioned engaging communities and making sure that we sensitize them about sexual reproductive health education, as well as not neglecting other topics that we've been dealing with before COVID. So what we need to understand is the fact that the economy is I don't know if it's already happening, but I think this whole COVID pandemic is going to affect our economy poorly, and not only Zambia, but the whole world at large. So it's important to make sure that in those sensitizations, because if things are going to change, let's say price-wise, and there's going to be poverty, for example, people will end up engaging themselves in practices that are going to be illegal and practices that are going to even result into more pregnancy cases as well as other diseases. So we need to make sure that everyone is aware of how they can, let's say economically, how they can be financially stable, in this time. People are making, let's say, hand sanitizers. We're not only sensitizing the public about how they should protect themselves, but we also need to give them skills. As youth, we are aware of a lot of things. We can come up with a lot of ideas on how people can make money during this time. So if we could sensitize the public to keep to stay safe, but then at the same time,
somebody has joined and they have not made the microphone Can you please? Okay, we're actually joined with colleagues from Pakistan, so Yeah, thank you. You can proceed, Vip. You can proceed.
Yeah, thank you. So I was saying we're not only going to sensitize people on how to take care of themselves, but we should also come up with ways in which we could educate communities and people out there to like ways of which they can use to make money as well as maybe to save. For we are not really sure on how things are going to be. Already there are a lot of people who are impacted because they're staying home and they can't go out and go back to their daily job where they get some income because things are not okay and they're not allowed to like move. So if we could maybe put our heads together and also think of ways we could help people earn money or live sustainably in a way that can benefit them while they're indoors and waiting for this pandemic to end. I think that would be very helpful to everyone. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Patrick, then I'm also seeing some two hands that have been raised, but Patrick, you can proceed first. Then we'll go to...
Thank you, Chair. And before I contribute, a warm welcome to our colleague from Pakistan. And my contribution is looking at the fact that we are home and we are talking about there will be a lot of pregnancies than ever before due to the following reasons, which is one, schools are closed and people are home and they are indulging themselves in risk behaviors rather. So what I was thinking is from communities where we come from, there are probably different radio stations there. Like in Lusaka, quite right, in Lusaka, we've got a number of radio stations, TV stations, but I'm sure we are home and wherever you come from, there is a radio station somewhere. And those radio stations are meant on sensitizing the communities and also deliver news and the like, making people aware of what's ongoing. And the number of people listening to those radio stations, more especially in rural areas, even when you're in the fields, like this time around, people are harvesting, they do listen to some of the programs from different media houses. So us as youths in these different localities, we can actually visit these radio stations. You can apply for maybe an hour or so and just go there and sensitize the public, maybe on the importance on the use of contraceptives. Like, so you can educate the masses on the importance of using contraceptives to reduce this baby boom that we're expecting. We can sensitize the masses on how they can go to different health facilities and get these the medications for different communicable diseases, let's say HIV and AIDS, because we as youths, about 4.8 million, that was according to UNFPA, somewhere in 2018. But this time around, I'm sure we're approaching somewhere 5 million, 7, somewhere there, or 6. And according to the UN, they're saying this is the largest youthful population ever, as in for Zambia. So it's us to take the lead today and make sure that some of these issues are dealt with. Otherwise, that was my submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I proceed to Charity and to Mero, I think I'm seeing Betha there. Betha, can you unmute your microphone? Okay. I don't know what's going on with the microphone. Okay, it's okay. Then we proceed to Charity.
I just wanted to add on something. I remember when we started the first submission to Melo said, she talked of not really leaving this issue to the government alone. So I feel it's important as youths we see how best we can contribute to the better of our communities. Because if these issues are not handled, if these issues are not acted on, we'll have things that are really going to disturb our economy, like Dolphin said. We're going to have issues like increase in poverty levels. We're going to have a lot of street kids. We're going to have increase in population and planned pregnancies and increase in HIV and AIDS rates. So it is important that we take it upon ourselves, really, without waiting on what the government is going to do, without waiting on the government giving us hand sanitizers to get people contraceptives. I feel it's important that we can try, by the little means that we have, educating the communities, the nearest communities where we are, about these issues that are affecting us. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, great. Now, Betha, can you unmute yourself? I can see you. Unmute yourself, please.
I'm sorry. It's
Okay,
inappropriate for me to do that right now. So I just called in to listen.
Really? Okay.
Because of where I am. Apologies, guys. Sorry.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
We proceed to Melo.
Okay, thank you. Just 2 more contributions I'd like to make. In line with what we are all discussing when it comes to like people's sexual reproductive health during this COVID-19 period, many people indulge themselves in sexual activities, which I think are not easy to prevent, because if you try and prevent people from that, they'll ask you, then what else should we do? I'm not saying it's something that cannot be prevented, but many people are doing it, and it can be hard to tell people to abstain, because that's the only thing that many people have to do because they are home. And I feel like this should be a period in which government should distribute a lot of contraceptives to clinics, mostly clinics in rural areas where people cannot access, maybe going to shops, or people do not have money, because during this same COVID-19 pandemic, many people do not have money because many people do not go to work. Many people who depend on getting paid daily are not going to work, and they do not have enough money for such things such as contraceptives or things that can help them prevent themselves from catching diseases such as SDGs, HIV, when they indulge themselves in sexual activity, and also preventing pregnancy. So I feel like it's very important for government to ensure that there's mass distribution of contraceptives in clinics, mostly in rural areas and in areas where people cannot afford, where people cannot access going to proper clinics in town. And also, just to contribute on what Delphine said, she made mention that it would be important to also help people make us as people being more knowledgeable about ways in which they can make money, because this COVID pandemic is going to greatly affect our economy. And I feel like it's really important if we start to encourage people to start being self-sufficient and reliant by making gardens at their homes. This will help their well-being and also help them in terms of health, because many people cannot afford to get food because of maybe not having enough money due to buying disinfectants or trying to buy hand sanitizers, and also not being paid, because some people rely on money that they get from piecework and small jobs, which they have to get paid from daily. So I feel like it's really important if we encourage people to start being self-reliant and sufficient by maybe building gardens in their yards, or even just a way of which they can provide food for themselves, so that during this pandemic they can still have a way in which they can take care of their health and their well-being. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I'm just remaining with 2 minutes for people to make submissions. So if there's anybody who wants to make a quick submission within 2 minutes, then we proceed to the updates on how far we've actually gone. Yeah. So anybody who wants to make the last submission within 2 minutes can actually do so. We're actually talking about the roles that young people have in the implementation of SDG 3, and also the available opportunities that they can see during this period of COVID-19. Yeah, so if you have any last submission, you can actually raise your hand or send me a text via the chat box, then you can actually proceed. Okay, this tells me nobody has actually got a submission. Okay, so we'll proceed. So thank you so much actually for the submissions that you've actually made. And these submissions I can actually attest and also assure you that they're not going in vain. You're not just making these submissions for the sake of making submissions, and then they end there. No, that's why you are seeing that these reports are actually submitted and they are documented well. And as you can see, during our previous meeting, during our previous meetings, we actually made this. Oh, I'm actually seeing a hand from Gabriel. Okay, Mr. Gabriel, I think under a minute you can make a submission, please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm glad to be a part of this platform. Thanks to Patrick for the invite. And I'm glad to just hear the amazing ideas that this platform is generating. And I wish to just encourage everyone to keep up the good work. I just also quickly wanted to highlight the importance of mentorship.
We've lost you. I don't know if you can try to check your audio a little bit.
As now?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Yeah, so knowing how mentorship influences behavior at the end of the day. I do hear the concerns being raised around how young people are carrying themselves during this period of COVID-19. And I think that where mental health is concerned, you can never really remove or neglect the importance of mentorship. And so where there is a platform for mentorship, but where we ourselves are able to provide that mentorship to our peers, let's go ahead and do that. I believe mentorship comes in all shapes and forms. There's so much knowledge on this platform. And I believe that if we take the lead in being able to mentor other young people, it is going to influence their behaviors throughout this period, as well as the foreseeable future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gabriel. We appreciate. So I think Mr. Gabriel has even talked about some parts that I even wanted as well to allude to. But thanks that he has come in. So just quickly, jotting down what we actually discussed in the previous meeting with other stakeholders over the same, is that we've already engaged Action Aid, and Meet Africa right now is actually keen. So soon after this meeting, I am sending, that's why you are seeing actually this meeting being recorded. Soon after this, I'm going to send this to Sadiq. And the previous meeting was actually sent. And today, as we talk about the roles, I think I'll be sending it to Meet Africa as well, so that they actually see. We would have loved the country manager for Meet Africa, the in-country coordinator, to be in attendance, but she just requested for the video that she's actually attending to another program. And also these submissions about the challenges were also sent to the United Nations Information Center, of which they're also aware about this project, as well as the submissions that you're making. And I'm pretty sure a quick response is being made in the background. And of course, we are seeing some visible actions being done, for example, from Meet Africa, where they published to look for an in-country coordinator to actually work on the COVID-19 response for Africa, for the southern region of Africa, sorry. Yeah. So just to make a little bit of some availance to you over the opportunities, we've actually seen that this COVID-19 has actually created a lot of spaces for young people. We're not supposed to start just looking for political positions and these other offices, but I think this is a great time that we need to take action. And the reason why I'm saying so is because for us as young people, it is not the issue of stating that we are doing something, but it is the issue of fighting for our future and protect it, because we are the ones who are going to suffer at the end of the day. So we're not doing this to impress anybody, no. We're actually protecting our future, we're fighting for our future. So having said that, one, I will first of all start with the donations that are being made by different stakeholders to the government. And I think I should submit it to you that we also have a space in that by making sure that those donations reach the rightful people. And we can do that by making sure that that information, of course, we don't want to risk anybody's life. So what is going to happen is, if, for example, any donation is meant to be distributed to, let's say, Eastern Province, in your area, maybe in Chipata, and then those political parties, instead of them, or maybe the government, instead of the government distributing that as government, they're actually distributing that in the name of a political party, or maybe in some form of trying to lobby for some support, or anywhere, or maybe trying to misappropriate those donations. So I think that you can actually be a very good tool to make sure that you protect those donations that they reach. How? You can actually do that by making sure that that information reaches relevant stakeholders, by making sure that, okay, fine, these distributions were not done accordingly, or they're being misappropriated, or maybe they're not reaching the people at all, or maybe according to their allocations, those allocations didn't reach us. So that's actually one of the way we can actually act as the watchdogs to see how best the government is actually responding to that. Then apart from that, there's also an opportunity available for us that we can actually also take keen interest in advocating the general public about the importance of course, observing the preventive measures put in place by the government and also the World Health Organization, by making sure that people see the seriousness in this COVID-19, because we're actually seeing a lot of people out there, stating that COVID-19 has got, it's just something that has been brought out from the Western part of the world, but they are not seeing the seriousness in it. But meanwhile, when we go in the practical aspect, we're seeing a lot of people are dying, and it has got great impact, more especially on vulnerable people. They are becoming more vulnerable, and this is a virus that we need also to take keen interest in curbing. Then, apart from just talking about this, I would love to state that youths also have the role to making sure that we use the media platforms wisely. So as a commitment, that's on the part of UNZA YUNA, we're going to carry on with a challenge. Now this challenge, the way it's going to be is that we'll do the I Take the Lead challenge. So this activity is going to publicize what you as a young person you are doing in your community. Then you send it to UNZA YUNA, then we'll actually post it on our website or on our Facebook page to show the world that that's how you are taking the lead. So we want to see whatever the activity that you are doing, even if it means you taking the preventive measures, you can capture yourself, you send that picture to us, we can actually put it on our page. And then just different things, just different areas where you're taking the lead. So it's gonna be a challenge on our part as UNZA YUNA, and we'll make it publicized to other colleagues. Then apart from that, different organizations have also availed themselves to respond to that. And we thank you so much for most of you that responded to the issue of, how can I put it? Those who responded to the United Nations voluntary opportunities that are volunteered to participate voluntarily to sensitize the general public about the COVID-19. That is actually a very, very commendable response that we can actually give. Then those are actually the available spaces that we can use. Then for those who are doing tailoring, of course, you can as well try to utilize this opportunity to actually even make some donations. We can actually make face masks and reach out to those who can't afford to buy them. And of course, we as UNZA YUNA, of course, took also an opportunity to carry on the sensitization in Karulushi, and also reach out to different areas and make some, of course, brief donations, small donations in any form, to make sure that people are listened to. Then we also tried to engage with local communities to have those local challenges to be addressed. And we are hoping that maybe these can actually be diversified to even, or they can be extended to even other parts of the country. And I was also seeing just some posts from the United Nations partnership platforms showing us what Betha Chulu is also doing, which is also commendable. Yeah, and also most of you what you're also doing out there. So this is something that we need to count on and hold on to, because it is something that we cannot run away from. It is our future that we are protecting, and I'll keep on emphasizing this. It is our future, and there's no one who's going to